Traffic SEO and retained client SEO get lumped together as the same thing, but they're not even chasing the same goal. One optimizes for clicks, the other optimizes for cases you actually keep and get paid on. Today I'm breaking down the big difference and why confusing the two is quietly costing firms real revenue. For those who are new here, my name is Jesse Stewart. I'm a paralegal and SEO specialist. I help personal injury firms generate more retained cases using retained client SEO without PPC dependency. If you appreciate me making this type of content, let me know by gently tapping that like button. Now let's get into it. First up, what traffic SEO actually optimizes for? Traffic SEO is the version of SEO most firms know because it's what most agencies sell. The goal is simple: get more visitors to the website, more rankings, more impressions, more clicks. And on the surface, that sounds like exactly what you want. But here's the problem. Traffic SEO stops measuring the moment someone lands on your site. It doesn't ask whether that visitor called your firm. It doesn't ask whether they booked a consultation. And it definitely doesn't ask whether they signed as a client. It treats a visitor from a car accident search and a visitor who's just researching an article for a school project as the same exact win. Both count as traffic. Neither one tells you if the firm made any money. And most monthly SEO reports are built entirely around this blind spot. Rankings went up, sessions went up. So the report gets marked green, even if not a single one of those sessions turned into a phone call. Next, what is retained client SEO actually optimizes for? And this is where the difference gets real. Retained client SEO doesn't stop at the click. It follows the visitor all the way through the funnel, from search to consultation to signed retainer. And the question isn't, did we get more traffic this month? It's, how many retained cases did that traffic actually produce, and what did each one cost us? That's a completely different scoreboard. Retained client SEO treats a ranking as a means to an end, not the end itself. The end is a client sitting across from your intake team signing a retainer agreement. Now let's put the comparison side by side, because seeing it laid out makes the difference obvious. Traditional SEO traffic is traffic focused. Retained client SEO is retained client focused. Traditional SEO chases rankings, obsession. Retained client SEO chases revenue. Traditional SEO runs on a volume mindset. More leads, more leads, more leads. Retained client SEO runs on a quality and intent mindset. Is this the right case, from the right person, at the right time? Traditional SEO reports vanity metrics, rankings, sessions, impressions. Retained client SEO reports business metrics, retained cases, cost per retained case, organic revenue contribution. And maybe the clearest line of all, traditional SEO calls its output leads. Retained client SEO calls its output retained clients. Same channel, completely different definition of success. Here's why traffic SEO breaks down specifically for personal injury firms. In most industries, more traffic is fine because almost any visitor could come to a customer. Personal injury is different. Your case value swings wildly based on who's actually contacting you. A visitor searching car accident lawyer near me after a real collision is worth an enormous amount to your firm. A visitor clicking through from a generic "what do I do after a car accident" article who isn't even injured isn't. Traffic SEO can't tell those two visitors apart. It just counts them both. So a firm can watch its traffic numbers climb every single month, feel like the SEO is working, and still not see a meaningful change in signed cases. That gap, traffic going up, retained cases staying flat, is the single most common complaint I hear from personal injury firm owners. And it's not a mystery once you understand what traffic SEO was actually built to measure. There's also a shift happening in search right now that makes this gap even more important to understand. AI overviews and other AI generated answers are starting to absorb clicks that used to go straight to organic listings. A visitor can get their basic question answered right on the search results page and never click through any website at all. That means raw traffic and raw rankings are becoming even less reliable as a measure of success. If your entire strategy is built around traffic volume, you're optimizing for a number that's naturally shrinking industry wide. If your strategy is built around retained case tracking, that shift barely touches you because you were never relying on volume alone to prove the channel was working. Let me walk you through a real world contrast because this is where it clicks for most people. Picture two personal injury firms in the same city, each pulling around 3,000 organic visitors a month, a realistic number for an established small to mid personal injury firm website. Firm A is running traffic SEO. Their agency reports rising rankings and rising sessions every month. And on the surface, things look great. But Firm A has no way to tell which of those 3,000 visitors ever picked up the phone, let alone signed. Firm B, retained client SEO, pulling a similar traffic number, but they're tracking source to consultation to sign retainer. They know exactly how many retained cases came from organic search, what those cases were worth, and what it cost to acquire each one. When it's time to decide whether SEO is actually working, whether to keep investing, whether to expand the budget, Firm B has a real answer. Firm A is just guessing based on traffic graph that's going up and to the right. While paid search leads for the same injury keywords are running anywhere from 1,700 to 5,800, each with no organic offset to point to. So how does retained client SEO track all of this? It runs in 3 stages, and I want to walk you through each one because this is the part traffic SEO simply doesn't have. Stage 1 is case intent capture. This is where you generate visibility, but specifically for high intent searches, the kind a real injured person is actually typing in after an accident, not generic informational searches. Think car accident lawyer plus a city name, not what causes car accidents. The goal here isn't visibility for its own sake. It's visibility in front of the exact person who needs a lawyer right now. Stage 2 is authority conversion. This is where visibility turns into consultations. A visitor can find your site through a perfect search and still leave without contacting you if the site doesn't build trust fast. This stage is about case results, real testimonials, clear attorney credibility, and a contact process with as little friction as possible. Fast loading pages, obvious click to call, mobile forms that actually work. Most firms lose a huge percentage of their visitors right here, not because the SEO failed, but because the website failed to convert the visibility SEO already earned. Stage 3 is retained case optimization, and this is the stage most agencies skip entirely. This is where you track which consultations actually converted into signed clients, why some don't, and what each retained case really costs you. It requires connecting your SEO source data to your intake data, knowing what this specific signed client came from this specific organic search channel, not just knowing that organic traffic is up. Traffic SEO usually stops at stage 1. Retained client SEO is built around all 3, working together because a firm can be excellent at stage 1 and still lose the whole game at stage 2 or stage 3. Here's the real difference in what each stage protects you from. Stage 1 protects you from being invisible. Stage 2 protects you from being invisible but untrustworthy. Stage 3 protects you from being something more expensive, spending real money to generate visibility and consultations that quietly leak out the bottom of your funnel without anyone on your team noticing, because nobody was measuring that far downstream in the first place. Which brings me to the one number I want you to start tracking instead of traffic: cost per retained case. Not cost per lead, not cost per click, cost per retained case. Here's how the math actually works. Take your total marketing spend for a channel over a given month and divide it by the number of signed clients that channel actually produced. So if your organic search program costs $5,000 a month, a realistic retainer for mid-sized personal injury firm, and it produces 4 assigned clients that month, your cost per retained case for that channel was $1,250. Now compare that number directly against your PPC cost per retained case, or your referral cost per retained case. Once you have that number sitting side by side across every channel, you can finally make a budget decision instead of a guess based on which channel feels like it's working. Most firms have never calculated this number for their organic search channel because their SEO reporting was never built to produce it in the first place. It was built to report rankings and traffic because those numbers are easy to pull and easy to show in a slide. So how do you tell which one your firm is actually running right now? Ask your agency this one question. Can you tell me how many retained cases came from organic search last month and what each one cost us? If the answer is rankings, traffic, or lead count, you're running traffic SEO and you're paying for visibility with no attached business outcome. If they can actually answer with a retained case number and a cost per case, you're running something closer to retained client SEO, and that's worth protecting and scaling. Let's bring this all the way back to the original question, because it's worth repeating plainly. Traffic SEO asks, did more people visit our website? Retained client SEO asks, did more of the right people become paying clients? Both approaches can produce a rising line on a traffic chart. Only one of them can tell you whether your rising line actually paid for itself. If you've been judging your SEO traffic and rankings alone, that's not a mistake. It's just the default most agencies hand you because it's the easiest thing to report. But it's not the number that pays your staff or grows your firm. Retained cases are the number that pays your staff and grows your firm. If this made sense to you, do me a favor. Subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Hit that like button if you found this useful. And if you know an attorney or a firm owner who's currently confusing traffic for results, send them this video. It might be exactly what they need to. If this made sense to you, do me a favor. Subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Hit that like button if you found this useful. And if you know an attorney or a firm whose owner currently confusing traffic for results, send them this video. They'll thank you for it. See you in the next video.